Next up, you can pencil in Oregon. All right. Now, even if you don't think they're going to beat USC, which as of right now, I think they will, you just got to split your last two between USC and Washington. So for Dan Lanning, it becomes a matter of are you going to be able to keep from losing two in a row? And here's my thing. Dan Lanning, as the head coach of Oregon, has never lost 2 games in a row. Go back to his first year there. They lost 2 of their last 3 his first year there. Since then, never lost 2 in a row. So what that's going to come down to and why it's happened that way for Oregon, Dan Lanning, I believe, is at the elite tier in college football in getting his team ready to meet the moment. People say, well, JD, the Rose Bowl didn't meet the moment then. Yeah, that to me feels like a bit of an anomaly. Like Ohio State was then a buzzsaw at that point. It is what it is. Outside of that, though, most of the big games Oregon plays, I feel like Dan Lanning has this team seeing it properly, thinking properly about themselves. A lot of that, too. Like, I think he's one of the best psychologists in college football, quite frankly. When it gets to his team having a goal put in front of them and having to go achieve it, I trust Dan Lanning to get his team ready to roll. So I want to also address this. I feel like Oregon has all the ability and tools in the world to go be a college football playoff team right now. And I keep saying this. I feel like Oregon's kind of been forgotten about. And the reason why that is the Penn State win didn't age that well. You beat Penn State in a whiteout. Everyone's singing Oregon's praises. Turns out Penn State maybe had their own issues. I think Oregon kind of created some of those issues, neither here nor there. Penn State falls off the wagon, and everyone's like, oh, that win must not have been that great then, Oregon. Then you pair that with the moment people remember, I think, most clearly, which is Indiana going to Autzen with College Game Day in town and beating Oregon out their place by double digits. And so people remember that moment. I'm like, do we not remember the other moments, though, for Oregon? Like, do we not understand this team has got a head coach that's 43-7? They're averaging 37 a game, number 11 in college football. Defense is top 5 in like virtually every category across the board. Got a quarterback completing 73% of his throws. Want to talk about moments? How about not flinching from Dante Moore in a wideout? And say what you want about what Penn State was after that game. That game was a huge spot for that program on the other side. Again, wideout, like you don't walk into that game and not have your heart rate change at all. That's psychopath stuff. Dante Moore, certified psychopath. Season on the line. Just torrential downpours, what it looked like on the broadcast. You drop a freaking dime in a bucket to your guy down the right sideline and Malik Benson when you had to have it. Nobody remembers that moment. And so I think that ultimately, like I truly think this Oregon team, when it comes to first round draws, I think Oklahoma is probably the most difficult personality. I think Oregon might be the toughest matchup. Like matchup wise, there's so many ways that Oregon can beat you. The ground game has proven it's potent. 261 against Iowa. I just told you, Dante Moore completing 70% of his throws. He's dialed in. He's not getting nearly the respect that he deserves. Also, I think the fact that Oregon at this point now would have a chip on the shoulder, an edge to themselves, and most importantly, staying in rhythm. That was, I think, the big question we all had at the end of last year is you win the Big Ten championship, you're undefeated, and then you got a few weeks to sit around and hear about how great you are. Oregon, top seed in the college football playoff. Dan Lanning got him rolling. Dylan Gabriel's Heisman finalist. Oregon's awesome. And that whole time, you're not getting activity. You're not staying in rhythm. You're not staying in routine. That would not be the case, I believe, for this Oregon team because I think they'll probably miss the Big Ten title game. But I think they'll be in the college football playoff. And going back to the whole psychologist angle here for Dan Lanning, I think he'll have his team ready to play. I think he will use what last year was. I can already see it in my mind's eye. The pre-game meeting peak that we get from the creative team is Dan Lanning talking about, hey, we showed up in the college football playoff a year ago and got embarrassed. I promise you, he will do everything the correct way possible to have that team in a different mindset and a different probably physical state too to be ready to roll for round 1 of the college football playoff. So Oregon, I don't see a world where they drop these last 2, man. I really don't. I think they'll be a college football playoff team. You can go ahead and pencil the Ducks in right now into your 12-team playoff bracket.